Reza, you've dropped so many just amazing tidbits. I want to dig into a little bit about your perspective coming from your passion and early interest for political science. You mentioned it about entertainment not being exactly meritocracy. Do you think your understanding of how our political system works at an early age helped you navigate that scene? And do you think that people who want to get into the industry should be looking at different topics of study that will help them better understand the dynamics of it?
So I'm glad you touched on that. It's a little left of what you said. I don't believe politics is the most important thing in our business. I think in all businesses, especially in America, where it's a capitalist society and there's open doors, I think the ability to use your confidence and your mouth are more important than anything else. And the ability to relate to people. That's essentially what's helped me. And at first, like I said, it was a hindrance that I wasn't Black. But after a while, I figured out how to make it a positive on both sides. I mean, to put it bluntly, Black people trusted me because I wasn't white, and white people felt comfortable with me because I wasn't Black. But I was in the middle of both those worlds and could navigate in between both. And so that's actually what helped me in Ohio. To be honest, we won't mention a couple of programmers' names, but the word on the street was that they were biased against hip hop reps, urban reps, because it's a polite way of saying against Black people, essentially. They didn't respect Black people. They didn't listen to Black people. And these are white guys running Black radio stations with Black product, with Black employees, but they just didn't show the same respect. And knowing this, despite my personal ethics and beliefs, I had a job to do. I dressed in a suit instead of looking like a hip hop guy and showed up to the guy like a business meeting, and I earned his respect. I knew how to navigate in different rooms. That one of the biggest problems in the entertainment business is people don't believe they should adapt or navigate in different rooms. They insist on the room adapting to them. And you have to know how to, and that I think came from waiting on tables. Like waiting on tables really taught me how to associate and relate to people and maximize the relationship in a short amount of time.
I think it's interesting that you came from such a humble perspective with it too, because everything that you're saying, you had no real ego or no real sense of how you should be perceived when you're walking into these rooms. But I think what stands out is that every single challenge that was in your path, you didn't address it with any sense of entitlement to the end product. Instead, you went in with an open mind to figure out the problem.
Entitlement, I think, is the right word. You use it. It's like, I noticed a lot of people were upset at me because they felt almost entitled to the position that I had earned as Garnett's assistant. And then other people were upset at me because they felt entitled to the position I earned as the national. But, I never felt any of these things were entitled to me. I just didn't know how to get them, and I wanted to work hard to get them. And I think not coming from the musical background, again, helped me because I understood the concept of start from the bottom and work your way up.
And I think the other thing that's always stood out to me about you is you don't get caught up in any of that, right? It's like no matter what people are saying, you know what people are saying, and you know these issues, but you have a kind of a laser focus of this is my job, this is what I have to do. And I think a lot of us, especially in corporate environments and in business, it's very important to not get caught up in that stuff, especially when you have a job to do, because you have more peace that way.
Yeah, bro, you said it. So 2017, I quit Interscope for that reason. Not to cut you off, I'm sorry. I quit Interscope because of that reason. This job makes it very toxic, especially my very niche field. I'm supposed to find ways to permeate into people's lives and make my product permeate into your life, right? It becomes tedious. It's like being married to every single radio programmer I deal with. I have to answer their phone calls at 2 a.m. It's not that I have to. It's like I actually am friends with these people. And I feel the obligation to my friends to talk to them because my job is to actually be friends with these people. It's not just to get them to play the music. Over time, you become friends. It's shared experiences, create friends, and these are my friends. But it's hard to explain to my wife why I'm friends with a pretty 30-year-old in Miami, and she has to call me at 2 a.m. about an artist, and it can't wait till 6 the next day.
Yeah.
It might be because the artist is supposed to be there, but that's a lot to try and tell my wife before I have to answer the phone at 2 a.m., which... Yeah. In my older age, I've managed to delegate and be smarter about the way I organize my life so people understand the limitations and boundaries. But I left Interscope in 2017 because it wasn't a meritocracy. It was becoming very toxic. I was starting to look at people as a commodity as opposed to humans. And I didn't, value real relationships anymore for a while. And I also had 2 kids at home, 2 girls that I didn't want to raise with a toxic parent that was coming home upset and angry because he has 5,000 relationships going on at one time, and he can't turn his phone off. So I quit. And I actually was in a great situation, and I quit with a very strong hand and walked out with quite a bit of money. And my whole intent was to leave the music business behind and do anything else that wasn't the music business, literally like real estate, cars, whatever.